Hello, people. I think you should be able to hear me and see me, I believe. Hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. I've been having some issues with my laptop this morning, so apologies if you've been waiting or if it's been playing up, but I am here now. Smash that like button if you haven't already, and feel free to subscribe to the channel. Where do we begin this Fight Friday live show? Wow, a lot's gone on in the last 24 hours. Gonna start with the UFC 309 press conference for Jones versus Miocic for the heavyweight championship of the world. I don't think John Jones enjoyed this press conference very much. So first and foremost, there were Tom Aspinall cheers in New York during the John Jones press conference where Tom Aspinall wasn't even present. I don't think he would have liked that. He also created some needle with Stipe because he's accused Stipe of mentioning his children by saying apparently Stipe said my kids will never look at me and think I'm an asshole. And Jones took that as Stipe was saying that to him directly. I've not seen or found any footage at all which backs up this claim from Jones. So I don't know if this is him seeing something and then trying to put two and two together and getting five, or creating a fake beef, or creating a narrative in his head so he gets in the zone for the fight. Either way, I thought it's tasteless. One thing I don't think you ever should do is accuse someone of speaking about children, especially in a negative connotation. And Jones has done this before and he's doing it now. And to do it with someone like Stipe doesn't make sense. Use the handshake and he comes across looking even more like a villain and he just looks fake. Jones hasn't covered himself with glory in this fight week at all. And then to compound matters even more, Dana White during the press conference said that whoever wins the fight out of Jones and Stipe, their next fight would be against Tom Aspinall, without any shadow of a doubt, to which Jones didn't look too happy about either. Now, Jones has been very vocal saying that he's not going to fight Aspinall. He's also been very vocal saying that he wants to fight Alex Pereira and that he also wouldn't mind fighting Jamal Hill and Derek Lewis, which made no sense to me. Made zero sense to me. But he's been very resolute in ducking Tom Aspinall. I'm not going to use any words to sugarcoat or mince around it or anything. He's ducking Tom Aspinall. Does he have to fight Tom? No, but he's ducking Aspinall. And for Dana to come out and do this in front of the world and do this at a press conference with John being there is very interesting, because Dana's been glazing Jones. So I wonder if there's been a breakdown in communication, or because Dana could have just been like, well, we'll see what happens after the fight. These two have got to fight first and we'll see what happens then. Dana was very resolute in his answer. Now, again, Dana White has been known to say things and change his mind and etc. For example, the new gloves. Jones comes back, the new gloves are reinstated. Dana seemed very staunch on this, though. So I'm very interested to see what goes forward, because Jones also was very clear saying that if he doesn't get the Alex Pereira fight, he's going to retire. For me, I think it's best if Jones does retire with the way he's been acting. But it also means that Pereira is not going to get the Jones fight, and he also seems as though he's going to be fighting Ankalaev. Now, that is the right fight in that division. Now, here's the thing. If Jones and Tom Aspinall fight and Jones beats Aspinall, and then Pereira and Ankalaev fight and Pereira beats Ankalaev, then I think everyone in the world is saying, let's do Jones-Pereira. But they've both got obstacles in front of them that they need to overcome before they can fight each other. It would be a criminal sin if he was to fight Alex Pereira before fighting Tom Aspinall, and if Alex Pereira was to fight John Jones before fighting Ankalaev. And I'm glad Dana's finally put that out there. Sticking with John Jones, he was doing his media rounds and was meant to do an interview with Adam Catterall from TNT Sports. Now, I'm going to try not to be too biased on this. Everyone knows my thoughts on Jones at the moment. I'm going to be try not to be too biased on this, though, because anyone who's spoken to me when it comes to sort of this field, I hold Adam Catterall as one of the best to do it. And he is so professional. He is so gracious with how he is in his interviews. And he's able to get fighters to feel comfortable enough for them to open up. And it's not an easy skill. It's a skill I'm always trying to learn to do myself. I don't have an issue with Jones not answering Tom Aspinall questions, or even asking Adam not to ask him any questions. But to go in there, shake his hand, and then turn around and say, no, I'm not doing it. For me, and to do it for knowing there's cameras there as well, is bang out of order. I think it could have been handled so differently. And again, Adam Catterall covered himself in glory once again by showing how professional he was. Didn't make a scene, took it on the chin, was gracious to Jones when Jones came back to him and explained why he wouldn't do the interview. Adam Catterall, you're the man. You should be proud of yourself, and TNT Sport should be proud that they have Adam Catterall. John Jones, once again, takes another L this fight week. And look, he may end up with the ultimate W. He may end up beating Stipe, which I think he will. But throughout this whole week, he just fumbled and fumbled and fumbled. And this is the worst one, in my opinion. He didn't need to do that. All he had to do, in my opinion, was sit down with Adam Catterall before the interview started and go, Adam, look, I understand you're Aspinall's friend. I also understand that you're representing a UK broadcasting network. So I know you want to speak about Aspinall. I'm respectfully asking if you don't ask any Aspinall questions in this interview, because I'm fully focused on Stipe and I want to give that my full attention. After the fight, then, you know, it's open season. You guys can ask me what you want, but just for the sake of this interview, please can we not speak about Tom Aspinall? That's all it needed to be. I guarantee you Adam Catterall would have said, that's fine. I guarantee it. The worst that would have happened from that is in the comment section, people would have gone, oh, funny how no questions about Aspinall. Again, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it just paints Jones in a bad light, paints the heavyweight division in a bad light. And shout out to Luke and Jay. I was speaking to them last night. We were doing a show on Luke's channel. Go and check it out if you haven't already. If you go through all the divisions in the UFC, this is the most disputed. In fact, it's the only disputed championship. I'll go through all the divisions. Women's strawweight, Wei Li, undisputed. Flyweight, Valentina, undisputed. Juliana Pena, undisputed. That's the women's divisions. The men's divisions. Pantoja, undisputed. Marab, undisputed. Topuria, completely undisputed. Makachev, completely undisputed. Bilal, undisputed. Duplessis, undisputed. Pereira, undisputed. John Jones, disputed. Francis left as the lineal heavyweight champion, is the heavyweight champion in PFL. Tom Aspinall is the interim champion, but has defended his belt more than Jones has defended his belt, and has beaten more heavyweights than Jones has beaten. Oh, and is pretty much undefeated, barring one technical loss where he injured himself. Jones has beat one heavyweight, a heavyweight who was overmatched and took the fight on about 5 weeks' notice, if I'm not mistaken. It is the only belt in the whole of the organization that's disputed, and it should be the main belt in the industry. The heavyweight belt should be the biggest, baddest, most coveted belt in the UFC. And right now, there's a massive stain on it. There was a stain when Francis left, but Jones has just added to that stain, all for the sake of his legacy. And I'll be honest, his legacy at the moment is aging like milk. And if he continues with the way he's going, people will always respect how talented he was, but his legacy will never be what he wants it to be. And until he changes that will never, it just won't happen. His ego's out of control at the moment. And look, we'll see what happens. Someone else's ego who's out of control usually is Jake Paul. And usually he gets away with saying and doing certain things because his opponents don't react. I'm in my 30s, guys. For as long as I've been alive and understood boxing or combat sports, I've known that Mike Tyson is one man you do not play with. I repeat, Mike Tyson is one man you do not play with. Jake has been poking the bear. Tyson's been letting it go. Tyson did not let it go yesterday, though. They had their weigh-ins and face-off. And I don't think it was on purpose, but Jake Paul stepped on Mike Tyson's foot. Mike Tyson slapped him in the face. Jake didn't see the slap coming and definitely felt it. Mike still got his speed. Now, granted, Jake wasn't expecting the shot to come, whereas in a boxing ring, he's expecting shots to come, so he's going to be a bit more vigilant and a bit more on point. But you know what this said to me? This said to me that Mike Tyson is still a killer. He's still that guy. Now, do I think he's going to win? No, I don't. I think age is undefeated. Mother Nature's undefeated. But I tell you what, Jake better not take Tyson lightly. If he takes Tyson lightly, he's going to be in a world of trouble. Tyson is not someone you take lightly. He will sleep you, and he will sleep you in devastating fashion. Power's the last thing to go. Speed goes, coordination goes, all those things go. Power's the last thing to go. And if he catches Jake clean, Jake is not going to recover from it. You do not take a Mike Tyson punch and recover. You just don't. So I'm looking forward to the fight. I'll be doing a watch along on this channel for the fight. So please make sure you join. I'm looking forward to the fight, but I'm also very nervous. I love Mike Tyson. I don't want to see him get knocked out by Jake Paul. Don't want to see him get knocked out at all, but to get knocked out by someone like Jake Paul, who would continue to use that footage and continue to troll and do all that nonsense, miss me out. I don't want to see that. On to another belt in the UFC, and that is the welterweight belt. So Shavkat was meant to be challenging Bilal Muhammad for the welterweight belt next month in December. However, Bilal pulled out because of a bone infection. Now, Shavkat's still been looking for a fight since. It looked as though it was going to be Kamaru Usman. However, Kamaru Usman came out and said he doesn't think he'll be ready for that date. He'll obviously have to get his weight down, have a quick camp. It's a big risk for Usman to take with him being 0-3 in his last 3 fights. He can't afford to go 0-4, especially if he's still got title aspirations. We thought maybe Jack could jump in, Jack Della Maddalena, but you're going to probably want to keep him for the Australia card. It seems as though Shavkat versus Ian Gary is in the works. Now, I didn't expect this. This kind of came out of nowhere because Ian Gary has just signed to fight Buckley. But that's in December as well. So, yes, Buckley is the fight that's been signed, but Ian Gary's always going to take an interim title shot potentially over a Buckley fight. Plus, the timelines aren't too dissimilar. I think it's a week earlier he would have to fight, a calendar week earlier, which I think Ian Gary would be fine to do. The question then comes in, is it a smart fight to take for Ian Gary on what would be short notice? It's a complete change of style and a big risk, because if you lose to Shavkat, you probably will then need another 2 or 3 fights just to get back to the belt. But Ian Gary's game. Whether you like Ian Gary or not, he's game. He will fight. He's not turning down fights. And if he's turning down fights, he's not turning them down because he's scared or ducking. He's turning them down because they don't make sense for him. It's a fight I'd like to see. Both fighters have been training together or have trained together in the past as well. And there are rumors that Shavkat knocked out Ian Gary in sparring. Sparring and fighting are 2 different things, though. You never know. Ian Gary could have been going through something that day. Maybe Shavkat was a little bit too exuberant in training, and Ian Gary wasn't like that in training. Ian Gary's not trying to take someone's head off in training. Maybe Shavkat is a type to do that. Who knows? A lot of variables go into sparring, so I wouldn't take much from it, but I would still favor Shavkat in a match between the two. Shavkat is just, he's a machine, and the fact that he's won all of his fights and stopped people in all of his fights just shows that. But I'd be very interested to see what happens with Buckley next. This was a big fight for Buckley, a main event. So if this doesn't go through for Buckley, I'll be very intrigued to see who they're matching up with next, because Buckley's not an easy fight, and not a lot of people are going to want to take Buckley on relatively short notice either. So it remains to be seen. And then finally, Khamzat Chimaev back in the news. After a dominant victory over Robert Whittaker, everyone has been clamoring and asking for him to get a title shot before Sean Strickland even. And whether it happens before Sean Strickland or not remains to be seen. But Dana did speak on this and said that, look, he wants Khamzat's next fight to be in America for the title. That's big news. That seems as though that means any travel issues Khamzat had is sorted now, and will be sorted, and will be putting him in a good position going forward to fight more regularly and fight in different locations. By arts, guys, should Khamzat get the title fight next, or should it still be Strickland? I know Strickland and Duplessis kind of had an agreement. For me, Khamzat's the fight to make. You strike while the iron's hot, and Khamzat for me is the fight to make. So again, would love to hear your thoughts. But people, I'm going to wrap up there. Would love to know your thoughts. Again, just to give you guys a schedule, going to be live for Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Probably have one show potentially before that as well, depending on if there's any drama at the weigh-in. So look out on the channel for that. And then tomorrow night, early hours of Sunday. Apologies, guys. Tomorrow, early hours of Sunday morning, if you're in the UK, UFC 309, Jones versus Miocic, Chandler versus Oliveira, Ruffy making his pay-per-view debut as well. So please tune in for those. Please do smash the like button on this video, guys, and subscribe. On the road to 3,000 subs, not far away now. So please subscribe. Thank you all for watching and listening. It has been a pleasure as always. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to the Sanderson Show. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.